Now, I'm sure by now you must have heard of all the chaos going on at Real Madrid, the fights, Rudiger versus Carreras, Valverde versus Tchoumeni, Arbeloa versus players, Mbappe versus the training staff. So much going on at Real Madrid. But do you know the cause? The root cause of the problem? Because to solve all of this, you have to tackle the origin. Where does it come from? The problem starts with Xabi Alonso. Now listen to this. During Xabi Alonso's time, there were a faction of players who weren't particularly happy with the way things were going down. Those players, you have Vini, Fede Valverde, you have Jude Bellingham, you have Rudiger as well. Now these faction of players, they weren't really happy, with the way Xabi did his stuff and all of that. You'd have reports saying during the tactical sessions, these players, they pretend to sleep off or just kind of like act bored and all of that, complain during the training sessions, this and all of that. And then Xabi, he made a famous remark, or actually he cautioned the players. He yelled at them, "I did not know I came here to coach a bunch of children." That was Xabi's remark. Now, the players who were on Xabi's side, who liked the way stuff were going down, Mbappe was there, Tchoumeni was there, Carreras, Hausen. You have those guys who liked, the way stuff were moving with Xabi Alonso, which is fine. At midway, at the other half of the season, Real Madrid parted ways with Xabi Alonso because, the club felt like Xabi didn't have control of the locker room. He didn't have absolute control. So they parted ways and decided to bring in Arbeloa, a different manager, someone who has worked with the youth team. Now, bringing in Arbeloa, a couple of players still didn't like Arbeloa. They didn't like the way stuff went down with him. Who were those players? You have the first on that list, Carreras, doesn't like the way stuff goes down with Arbeloa. Raul Asensio, our centre back, didn't like that as well. Dani Ceballos, Dani Carvajal as well, didn't like the way stuff went down or things are going down with this man, Arbeloa. Then the players who liked Arbeloa, Fede Valverde, Vinicius Jr., as you can see, since Arbeloa came on, Fede Valverde and Vini, they've been performing way better. They've gotten more goals. But back with Xabi, if you remember, Fede only had like 2 goals or a goal under Xabi. Vini was going like about 15 games goalless or stuff like that. It wasn't good for those guys. But then under Arbeloa, you can see the performance has switched. Now, Mbappe is the one who isn't having such a good time under Arbeloa. Whereas under Xabi Alonso, we were shouting Ballon d'Or chants for Mbappe. Now, you guys are getting the problem. Then, we move over, all of this will take us to Tchoumeni and Valverde. Tchoumeni has never been happy with the way, Valverde, Vini, the way they treated Xabi and the way Xabi was sent off. So, Tchoumeni, straight up, told that to Valverde. They said Valverde and Tchoumeni, they haven't been on good terms for months, for several months. All they do is play the matches together, train together, and they go home. But teammates are supposed to like themselves. But these two, they've been beefing for a very long time. In any case, so leading up to this, Valverde actually accused Tchoumeni of being a mole, because you would have noticed a lot of private information, stuff going down at Real Madrid. It has been spreading so crazily, like you think this is a reality show. So Valverde actually accused Tchoumeni of being the mole, and then of course there's this back and forth. No, I'm not the mole, maybe you're the mole, that kind of stuff. In any case, so a training session that happened, I believe, on Wednesday or Tuesday, Tchoumeni made a tackle on Valverde, and Valverde thought it was, planned and, rehearsed, and it was, intentional. So Valverde was upset about that. They had a verbal argument. That was day one. Then the next day, it seems Valverde hadn't forgiven Tchoumeni. And then in training session, Valverde makes as the training starts, Valverde makes a very dangerous tackle on Tchoumeni, and then they get into it, arguments, this and that. And Tchoumeni, knocks out Valverde. Valverde hits his head, and the rest of that part. Now, the problem. These two guys, Valverde for Arbeloa, Tchoumeni for Xabi Alonso. Players right now in Real Madrid who don't like Arbeloa, they tend to make fun of Arbeloa during training sessions and even in the game. I believe in the games we've been playing, there was a player, or there were two players who were making fun of Arbeloa, calling him a training cone. You know what that is? I mean, it's basically an object, a useless object, basically. So Arbeloa, it doesn't like that. So many players. That's why Arbeloa currently isn't talking with 6 players, and I believe it's going to be Dani Ceballos, Raul Asensio. You're going to see them. Carreras, you're going to see him there as well, and who knows the other two. In any case, Valverde actually released a statement, saying that there was never a fight. He actually accidentally just tripped and hit his head. He released a statement on his profile and that, but that is a lie. That is a big lie. It's like a cover-up, but it's a very useless, flimsy one because Real Madrid has actually confirmed this news on their official page that Tchoumeni and Valverde got into a fight. It's on their page. So Valverde coming over to say, nah, that never happened. It's a lie. It's a lie. In any case, the club confirmed it, and then they also confirmed, punishments will be issued to Valverde and Tchouaméni. Meanwhile, Valverde will be out for roughly 2 weeks, a week and some days, something like that. Valverde will be out for that long. Valverde is missing El Clasico. Definitely missing El Clasico. Tchouaméni, if he plays El Clasico or not, we aren't totally sure, but then his punishment should include not playing El Clasico. But then we will be absolutely short-handed, short-manned, whatever, if we play without Tchoumeni and Valverde in the midfield. What combination can we use in the midfield? No holding midfielder. In any case, so back on that, Papa Perez has, the situation at Real Madrid right now, it is awful. And then Perez is going to take, serious measures this time around. He wants absolute control of the players, of the locker room, which is why most likely, in fact, it's almost a done deal. Jose Mourinho is going to be, Real Madrid's next manager. Perez and Jose Mourinho, they like themselves. Perez likes the idea of Jose Mourinho, so it is almost sealed. Perez also believes that Jose Mourinho is a manager who can control, minds like this, who can bring the locker room, make them one. You understand that? And then Jose Mourinho has also made his request known to the club, stuff he'd want, this and that. So you could say the plans are already in motion. It's also confirmed that Arbeloa will not be continuing with Real Madrid at the end of the season. Now, Perez was upset with Arbeloa because Arbeloa stood by while the fight was going on. Arbeloa didn't try to stop Valverde or Tchouaméni. So Arbeloa's case, he's just gone. Then there's 6 players who do not like him. Arbeloa is gone after the season, and most definitely, it's going to be using Mourinho taking on after him. Then we come over to the dictator, Kylian Mbappe. Now, Kylian Mbappe was spotted leaving the training ground laughing after the fight. But then reports claim he wasn't there during the fight and this and that. But it's kind of, I don't believe that. It's almost impossible for Kylian Mbappe not to have witnessed that. Then he, left the training ground laughing and smiling. Would I say the chaos is good? Because right now, there's going to be a total reset at the club. With Jose Mourinho coming in, there's also going to be very strict policies. A lot of players are going to be leaving the club. A lot of players are going to be leaving the club at the end of this season because we've gone trophyless and we've embarrassed the club. The name Real Madrid, these guys have embarrassed it. So a lot of changes are going to be made. I don't believe Mbappe is leaving the club. So the petition currently has about 35 million signings for Mbappe to leave. That's more than half of the population of Spain. But in any case, I don't believe the petition is irrelevant. Mbappe isn't leaving. Vini isn't leaving as well. Those two, they aren't going anywhere. Bellingham isn't going anywhere as well. The club has also said Valverde, Tchouaméni, they aren't getting rid of them as well. So these guys must become friends, like it or not. That is what is happening. In any case, that's about it for the roundup. Down in the comment section, let me know what manager would you really prefer to see. And next season, what are you looking out for next season? Let me know down in the comment section. that's going to be it for the updates. Catch you guys later.